Hi, I am Amy Block. I'm the Executive Director at Catholic Charities, and you are here for another Mental Health Monday. And today I am with Tina Zanders. She is one of our therapists down in our Carroll office. Hi, Tina. How are you?
Good. Hi, Amy.
Hi. So today we thought we would talk a little bit about couples and those of us who are in relationships. And Tina, I thought the first thing, we're still kind of dealing with all of this, the impact of COVID. And just wondering if in some of your work that you do with couples, if you've seen, or maybe the question more is, what have you seen the impact of COVID has been on couples?
Yeah, sure. So while I've not had an individual or a couple contact our agency to seek services specifically identified with COVID stress, it
Sure.
is something that I've been assessing with all of my clients routinely throughout this duration, asking them things like, what's their job status? Are they experiencing any financial matters that may be causing stress? What's their child care arrangements? Because some people have
Mhm.
lost child care temporarily or maybe it has resumed. I know there's been a lot of stress for the parent who was put in charge of homeschooling their children.
Right.
They found that very stressful, and that stress tended to then boil over into the marriage,
Mhm.
just because that individual is so stressed by running their own university from home. Um, some other things we've seen. Couples that are both working out of the home now. They're
Mhm.
spending 24/7 together and they're getting on each other's nerves.
Sure.
So that's been a factor.
Right.
I also talk with them, if they're having any challenges with the social isolation, which a lot of people have identified that that's been a stressor for them. And again, just too much time together as a couple. They're just
Yeah.
relying on each other a lot for that.
Right.
And I would say another area that I've seen a lot is just a change in roles. Maybe one person is laid off temporarily. And so with those changes, the other spouse may be expected to pick up more responsibilities with the kids or the house because they're not working out of the home. And maybe those weren't responsibilities or expectations prior to COVID coming in. So there's been a lot of adjustments that they've had to
Right.
make.
Right. So with that, you're talking then a little bit kind of maybe about creating some conflicts or maybe intensifying. If there were conflicts too, I imagine that can intensify what was there. And so one of the things that
Absolutely.
right that we wanted to talk about was so there's this thing out there called fair fighting and these fair fighting rules that and I want to know, is there such a thing and can it be done? So tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a concept of fighting fair rules for couples. Yes, it can be done, but obviously, like with anything, it takes effort
Right.
and some motivation to do that. I use them all the time when I'm dealing with couples in regular therapy. So absolutely, this applies to the COVID situation when couples maybe are experiencing more tension and more conflict.
Okay.
So there's you fighting fair rules, but I think I'm just going to highlight a few if that's okay.
Great. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So, first I would start off by saying all couples fight. It's it's inevitable, it's expected, and actually it is healthy for people to have conflicts in their relationship. It is a form of communication. I think the challenge is if it gets to be too often or too extreme. We can kind of lose handle on the situation. So um, the things I'm going to discuss are good just to really keep conflicts and arguments manageable and so they don't become destructive. First thing I would say is never use physical force. That is an absolute no no when it comes to any type of argument. Uh, it, it's good to try and maintain emotional control, which can be a real challenge. If an argument starts to become more heated, have a signal between the two of you that, we're going to walk away for a little bit and we're going to come back and revisit the topic maybe in a half an hour, or maybe it needs to be the next day when people are a little bit calmer. This should be a given all the time. Be respectful of your partner. Avoid yelling, name calling, any type of intimidation. That's going to create a major snag in getting any resolution done. When you start to have a fight with somebody or some kind of conflict, it's pretty natural for people to want to bring up old hurts or history or old problems that they've had. They literally want to throw the kitchen sink in.
Right.
It's really good to stay focused on the issue at hand and not start bringing all of this old stuff back into play. I would also say it's really important not to generalize when you're talking with your partner and you're trying to resolve a conflict. Stay away from things like, you never help me with the kids. You're always gone from home. Because always and never, that's not really a correct representation, and all you get back from that is a defensive person.
Makes sense.
I would say don't ambush somebody. And what I mean by that is, first of all, don't ambush them in public. Fights should not be done, conflict should not be done in public. An audience only tends to add fuel to the fire. And certainly, if you have an issue with a partner, when they come home maybe from work, don't jump on them right away. That's what I mean by ambush with,
Okay.
what, so let them settle in and address things later. Don't criticize and blame your partner. Again, that shuts down communication immediately. Try and use statements like I statements like and perception, like I feel like you haven't been around the house as much. My perception is that you're really your time and energy is being used up elsewhere, and my hope is that you would look at that and come back and see if that's the case and start spending more time at home. Something
Tina,
like that.
so can I clarify? So saying something like, I feel like you're a jerk, however, probably is not an I feel statement. Is that correct?
Yeah, we don't want to go there. That kind of goes back to the name calling and things like that.
Right.
Identify what you're seeing in the behavior.
Okay.
Again, like it seems to me like you've been gone from the house a lot. I'd really like for you to be spending time with us as a family, those kinds of things, versus, you're never home, you don't care about us, all you care about is you. Really a different tone for being able to resolve something.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Don't fight in front of your kids. That's a major no-no. Again, an audience, it changes the dialogue, and it's not good for your kids in any way, shape, or form. So that's a major no-no. I would also throw in there, don't keep score. Don't go tit for tat. Your goal here is to really openly communicate, identify an issue, look at a goal, speak your mind, listen, and again, the ultimate goal is to be happy and not necessarily to win. So those are just some, just a few in keeping things manageable and under control.
Yeah. And I think that last point you made too, about thinking about what your goal is in the situation. And I think sometimes when we're maybe frustrated or upset with our partner, thinking about what that goal is, and is it that we want to prove that we're right, or we want to have a good, healthy relationship, and really sorting through what's the most important thing that we want at the end of the day. So I think those are great tips.
Yeah,
for all of us, I think, to take.
absolutely. And yeah,
I'm sorry, were you going to say something
yeah.
else,
You know,
Tina?
I think a lot of times we'll start out with that in mind, but it's easy to get off track and abandon all these fighting fair rules. And so again, that's where I come back to, you really have to be motivated to want what's best for your marriage and to it, even though you might be inclined to step away from those fighting fair rules.
Yes, and practice, right? I mean, practice, and
Yes,
I think that's
absolutely.
the other good takeaway. It's not perfection, practice, and so thank you. I think those are great. And one thing I would mention too is that we're going to do another Mental Health Monday on how, when we do have conflict and maybe not always in the best way, how that does impact our kids. And I think that is really important that we're aware of that and how we can do that better, how we can resolve if we are having conflict in front of our kids in ways that don't. So that will be coming in the future. I also want to remind people that if you are struggling in your relationship and you need some help, that all of our therapists are trained. We do work with couples and that we're here for you. And you can reach out to any one of our offices. Our information's on our website, which is cathchar.com, CATHCHAR.com. And Tina, thank you so much. The information was great. Inspires us all to do a little bit better in our relationship. So I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Hopes everybody has a great day.
Yeah.